Everybody breaks eventually. That is the lie you have been told your whole life. That pain is something to survive, something to wait out, something to numb with sleep, with noise, with a screen glowing in the dark at 2 in the morning, while the weight of your own life presses down on your chest. But what if the pain was never the enemy? What if the very thing crushing you right now is the exact raw material you need to become someone unrecognizable? There was a man who figured this out over 2,000 years ago. He carried water for a living, and what he discovered in the dark hours between midnight and dawn is something almost no one alive today understands. Stay with me, because by the end of this, the way you see suffering will never be the same. He arrived in Athens with almost nothing. 4 drachmas, according to the ancient accounts. That was the entire fortune of the man history would remember as Cleanthes. Before philosophy, he was a boxer, a fighter, a body built for taking hits and giving them back. But he did not come to Athens to fight. He came because something inside him was starving. He had heard the teachings of the Stoics, and he wanted to sit at the feet of the great teacher Zeno and learn how to live. There was just one problem. Learning cost money, and he had none. So picture this. The other students, many of them wealthy, arrive at the school rested and fed. And there is Cleanthes, exhausted, his hands raw, his eyes heavy, because while they slept, he worked. Every single night, he found a job hauling water. In the black hours of the night, he would go to the gardens of the rich and draw water from the wells, bucket after bucket, filling the troughs and channels so the plants would live. His back bent, his arms burning, alone in the dark with the cold rope biting into his palms. And then, with no sleep, he would walk to the school of Zeno and learn philosophy all day, night after night, water day after day, wisdom. He was living 2 lives at once, and both of them were grinding him down. The people of Athens noticed. Of course they noticed. And they gave him a nickname. They called him the water carrier, not as a compliment, as a mockery. Here was a grown man, a former athlete, breaking his body doing servant's work just to sit in a room and listen to ideas. They thought he was a fool, but here is what almost no one realizes. The mockery was about to become the least of his problems, because someone reported him to the authorities. In Athens, you could be dragged before court and forced to explain how you earned your living. And Cleanthes had no visible income, no property, no obvious means of support. To the eyes of the city, he was a mystery, and mysteries made people suspicious. So they hauled him in front of the magistrates to answer a simple, dangerous question. How exactly are you surviving? And this is where the story turns. Stop for a moment, because before we see what he did in that courtroom, I need you to feel what he was actually carrying. And I do not mean the water. He was carrying the thing you are carrying right now. The exhaustion of doing the hard thing when no one is watching. The quiet humiliation of being underestimated. The feeling that you are pouring everything you have into something, and the world is looking at you like you are wasting your life. You have felt this. The morning you did not want to get up, but you did anyway. The work you put in that nobody clapped for. The message you were too afraid to send. The dream you keep alive in secret because you are terrified of what people would say if they knew. That is the water Cleanthes was carrying, not just buckets. The full weight of being doubted. The full weight of choosing a hard road while everyone around you chose the easy one. And most people, when they reach that point, they quit. They put the buckets down. They tell themselves they were never meant for it anyway. They trade the difficult dream for the comfortable numbness, and they call it being realistic. Cleanthes did not put the buckets down, so there he stands in front of the magistrates of Athens, a poor man accused of having no honest way to live. And they demand proof. Show us how you support yourself. What happened next stunned the entire court. But to understand why, you have to understand what was really being tested in that room. It was not his job. It was his entire philosophy. Everything he had learned in those sleepless days was about to be put on trial in a single moment. And what he revealed changed how the greatest minds of the ancient world saw him forever. Cleanthes did not argue. He did not beg. He simply called 2 witnesses. The first was the gardener whose wells he emptied every night. The man stood up and confirmed it. Yes, This is the one who carries my water in the darkness while the city sleeps. The second witness was a woman for whom he ground grain, another brutal low job he had taken to survive. She confirmed it too. Yes, this man labors. This man works with his hands until they bleed. And the court fell silent because they had expected to expose a fraud. Instead, they had exposed a man of almost unbelievable discipline, a man who was doing the hardest possible work, in secret, in the dark, asking nothing from anyone, all so he could feed something inside him that mattered more than comfort. The magistrates were so moved that they offered him a gift of money from the public treasury, 10 minas, a real sum, enough to make his life easier overnight. And Cleanthes refused it. He would not take the easy way because he had already discovered the secret. And here it is. This is the core of everything. Cleanthes understood that the labor was not the obstacle to his philosophy. The labor was the philosophy. The suffering was not in the way of the path. The suffering was the path. Every bucket of water he carried was not stealing strength from him. It was building it. Every night of exhaustion was not a tax on his dream. It was the training ground of his soul. He had turned pain into fuel, and he did it with a simple 3-step code hidden inside the way he lived. Step 1. He accepted the weight without complaint. He did not waste a single ounce of energy wishing his situation were different. The Stoics had a word for this idea that we should love our fate, embrace what is given to us, even the heavy parts. He did not resent the buckets. He picked up. Step 2. He connected the pain to a purpose bigger than the pain. The water was unbearable on its own, but the water was not the point. The wisdom was the point. When you attach your suffering to a meaning, the suffering transforms. It stops being torture and becomes tuition. You are not being crushed. You are paying for something. Step 3. He let the resistance itself make him stronger. Just as his years as a boxer taught him that muscle only grows by tearing under load, he understood that the mind and the character grow the exact same way. Cleanthes even said that difficulty was like the wind against a tree. The harder it blows, the deeper the roots must grow. The struggle was not weakening him, it was rooting him. And here is the part that should give you chills. Modern science has now proven he was right. Psychologists have a term for it: post-traumatic growth. Study after study shows that people who go through real adversity and process it with meaning often come out stronger, more resilient, more focused than people who never suffered at all. Your brain, under the right kind of stress, does not just recover, it upgrades. Stress that is connected to purpose literally rewires you to become more capable. Cleanthes had no laboratory, no brain scans. He figured it out by carrying water in the dark. And he lived it so completely that when Zeno died, this mocked water carrier, this so-called fool, became the head of the entire Stoic school. He led it for over 30 years. The man they laughed at became one of the most important philosophers in history. So now, the question from the beginning: what if the thing crushing you is the exact material you need? Here is your answer, and here is what you can do tonight. Take the heaviest thing in your life right now, the stress, the rejection, the grind that no one sees, and run it through the 3-step code. First, stop fighting the fact that it exists. Say it out loud. This is my situation. I accept that it is here. You are not surrendering. You are stopping the bleeding of wasted energy. Second, name the purpose on the other side of it. Ask yourself, what is this pain buying me? Patience? Skill? A future version of me who is unbreakable? Write that purpose down where you can see it. Third, reframe the resistance as training. The next time it gets hard, do not think, why is this happening to me? Think, this is the load that grows the root. This is the weight that builds the strength. Do that, and the pain does not vanish, but it changes sides. It stops being the thing that happens to you and becomes the thing that works for you. Cleanthes carried water so he could carry wisdom. The weight never left him. He just grew strong enough to hold it. And so will you. The next time life hands you something heavy, remember, you are not being buried. You are being planted. If this reached something in you tonight, stay with us. Subscribe, and let us keep walking this path together, because the strongest version of you is not waiting on the other side of the pain. It is being built inside it right now.